Hello everybody, I am not dead yet, finally back with a long form video and with a new lighting setup. Let me know what you think. I actually quite like it. I think it adds a little bit more color to my face and just kind of the overall surrounding area so I don't look like I'm in, the dungeon, as people have called it. But anyway, you read the title right. I finally, after over a year of trying, got a match. It was great, and I will be showing it to you near the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. And I will also kind of come back after the fight is over to kind of give a brief play-by-play and kind of describe some of the key moments of the fight, and more specifically, like what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what my strategy was going into it, etc. But yeah, so I had been preparing for this fight for a while. The guy that I was up against was about 15 pounds heavier than me, so we were not actually in the same weight class, and obviously you can't fight if you do that. So what we decided on was a catch weight, where he would come down a couple pounds. I think he was 165, he would come down to like 162, 163, and I was about 150. I would come up to about, 152, 153, something like that, where we would get within striking distance of 10 pounds of each other, and that would allow us to fight. And everything kind of worked out. I actually weighed in like way heavier than I expected to. I weighed in at like 57 pounds, which is actually just, a lot of bloat and water weight. And I had a big meal before the weigh-ins because, again, like I'm trying to be as heavy as I possibly can in order to make the fight happen. And the interesting thing about this fight, too, is the guy that I was up against, everybody told me, like, this guy's kind of a nutcase. He's a little bit crazy. You have to watch out for him in the first round. And so during the weigh-ins, I'm there with my girlfriend, right? And as I'm waiting to weigh in, he walks up to me and shakes my hand. And he's like, Eli. I'm like, yeah. And he shakes my hand and he's like, I'll see you later. And I went, yes, you certainly will. And now I don't know if this was an intimidation tactic or not, but it was definitely interesting. The most exciting part about the whole pre-fight thing was the fact that I almost didn't make it to the fight in time. So what ended up happening was weigh-in started at, I think, 3 o'clock, and I got there around 3:10 because traffic was nuts that day. And I was like one of the last people to line up, so I ended up leaving weigh-ins and medicals at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, when doors open at 6 and fights start at 7. So no, I left at like 5, and I had to go drop off a ticket to somebody who was going to come see me. So by the time I actually got back to my house, it was like 5:45. I had already prepped all of my stuff, right? And so I just got all my stuff. I ate because I'm like, oh crap, I gotta eat. It'll give me about an hour and a half, because you figure how long it takes. I was one of the more middle cards. I was the 6th fight in what was supposed to be a 14 fight card, but it ended up only being, I think, a 10 fight card, because 2 people that were scheduled to fight didn't. I don't know why one of the fights was canceled, but another one, who was actually from my club, didn't have his medical, which I found kind of strange. Like, if you're going to go into a fight, you should know whether or not you have your medical, or whether or not your medical is expired. So that was a bit strange. But so those 2 fights were canceled, and then later on, for some reason, 2 other fights got canceled, while the card was going on, which again, I found very strange. Like, I think there were even fighters in the ring at one point, and they called off the match for some reason. This was well after my fight had happened, and I wasn't really paying attention at that point. I was kind of getting my stuff together and getting ready to kind of pack stuff up. But yeah, so I was fight 6 on what was supposed to be a 14 fight card. With doors open at 6 and the fight starting at 7, I didn't get there until like 7:15. It was bad. I ended up leaving my house around 6:45-ish, 6:50, something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, we have a lot of time. We saw that like there was traffic lined up for an entire street. And this street, normally you can go 80 down that street, right? Or 70, something like that. And it was just completely backed up. So we had to do a detour, right? And I'm like, that's fine. We know the detour. We can plan for it. There's traffic on that detour too. And we're like, what the hell is going on? Why is there so much traffic? Is everyone going to this fight? Is that what's happening? Is everyone going to this fight? And then so we keep going. We finally get past all the like bottleneck traffic, and we get stuck behind a train. Literally like 5 minutes away from the venue. our car gets stuck behind a train. We're like, what is going on? So I get there. I don't even know if the people that I invited to come watch me are even there. I'm scrambling. Like, I'm texting people. I'm like, are you there? Are you here? Are you this? Are you that? My coach comes in. He's like, dude, I'm so glad you're here. We thought we were going to miss another fight. We're already on the second fight and you're fight 6. Stop worrying about everybody else and just start preparing. I'm like, hold on. I need to make sure I have all my stuff. I need to text my mom to make sure she's around. And where's my brother? I need to figure out. And so eventually, as this whole ADHD-ness, as my coach described it, kind of dies down as I start to see some of the people I invite walk in through the doors and whatever. So my coach kind of wheels me off. I change into my fight gear and I start kind of getting ready. Normally I have this whole pre-fight ritual where I'll like listen to music and try and kind of focus my mind and kind of do some skipping and warm up and whatnot. But I couldn't really do that this time. I did listen to a little bit of music and got to skip a little bit to start to get warm. But the venue was really small in terms of like where people could go, so I feel like I was skipping and I was always in somebody's way, so it was really tough to actually get some decent skipping in. I never actually even got to do hand pads to warm up. Normally, like before a fight, your coach will do some hand pads with you, give me a jab cross, and just to warm up the shoulders, warm up the legs and the body, kind of get you nice and warm for the start of the fight. I didn't even really get to do that. My warm-up was the skipping, which was fine. But again, normally I have a lot more time, and normally I put in the music and use that to get myself a little bit more aggressive and kind of focus myself in. I didn't have time to do that. Like, to put into perspective, and I don't know how much time I actually had, right? But I was 6th fight, and they were already on 4. Or no, already on 2, right? Which means that there were 4 including me, so that would mean 3 fights and then me, right? 3, 4, 5, me. So 3 fights. That's like 10 minutes. Depending on the level of the fighters, if they're doing 3 1-minute rounds, that's 10 minutes. If they're doing 3 2s and I have a little bit more time, it's like 15 to 20, but yeah, it went by pretty quickly. I basically just showed up in time to get changed, warm up, and get out there, which was fine, because honestly, I was not all that worried for this fight. I was very confident. I had seen this person box before, and he just wasn't on my level, and so despite the kind of scrambling I had to do, I was still very confident in this fight. And so I got dressed up, I wore my Superman robe, which was exciting, and I got to go out there and do my thing. So you are now all going to get to watch me get out there and do my thing. So enjoy the fight, make sure you watch it all the way through, and I will be back after to kind of give a quick play-by-play and then wrap up this video.
Round 1.
Let's go! it is. There it is. That's it. That's it. Il a la semaine malade.
Il a le même coach par tête là. Il est fou. Non, mais comment on va le voir? Il a pris un très bon vidéo.
Voilà, au début, j'ai pensé, je filmais rien, c'était photo.
Il est comme son texte. Il a le sens.
Go Eli!
Ils ont abandonné là. Ils ont abandonné. Ils n'ont pas vu le truc. Ils ont abandonné.
Wow.
Oh, he threw the towel?
Yeah, the towel.
Oh my god, that's embarrassing. Superman!
And we're back, and yes, I do have the protein tower behind me now. I didn't have it before because I was in a rush to film this video, just forgot to put it up, but I'm drawing attention to it now. Use my code, NOTDEADYET, when you check out at hdltsubs.com or gregdoucette.com to support me and get 10% off your order. Please do that. I love these supplements very much, and hey, you see what I do in the ring. I'm not going to say they're from the supplements because that's obviously not the case, but I really like them, and you can support me. So, back to the fight now. Yeah, that was it. I stopped him 2 minutes into the first round. His corner actually threw in the towel, and honestly speaking, even if his corner did not throw in the towel, I'm pretty sure I would have been able to stop him, because how boxing works is if you get 3 standing 8 counts in 1 round, the fight is over. That's it, right? And I'd already given him 2, and he still had 1 minute in the ring with me left. I do not think he would have been able to survive that minute. His hands were all over the place. He was, like, from my perspective, his face was messed up. Yeah, and he was scared. Near the end, you can see how he was running around. He could barely fight back. But there was one moment in particular that I knew for a fact that the fight was mine. And I don't know the exact time. I'll let the person editing this video, most likely Skybox Designs, but I'll let the person editing this video know where it is so we can put it up on screen. But I landed a solid right cross to his face, and it was just square, dead center of his face, right? And he like stumbled backward. And the second that cross landed, and I watched him kind of stumble back, and even watching over the footage, you can hear, depending on which footage I send, I've got a few different angles of the fight, but watching over the footage, you can hear the crowd go, whoa! When that punch landed, I knew the fight was mine. There was nothing he could do at that point. It was just pure, like, bloodlust. I was the hunter, and he was the prey. And then obviously the standing 8 count, I try to hype up the crowd, get people on my side, and then boom, right back at it. And the funny thing was too, I was so confident going into that 8 count, I kind of jogged my way over there, but that wasn't even as fast as I could have gone. Like normally I was taught when an 8 count happens, sprint to the neutral corner, because the neutral corner being a corner that no coach, that doesn't have a coach in it. Whenever somebody gets an 8 count, you have to go to the neutral corner, right? But I was taught to sprint there. Don't give your opponent a moment's rest. I kind of leisurely jogged my way there because I was confident that this fight was in the bag. Even if the fight continued on, it was just going to be more rounds of me pummeling this guy. His hands weren't there. And like that first cross, when I, again, made him stagger, was what gave me the idea that, like, yeah, this fight is mine. And then later on, I saw him, like, bleeding from the mouth and nose, and I'm like, this guy's on his last legs. Let's finish him off. Right, and yeah, that was the fight. Now, I will say, kudos to the guy that I fought. He was very respectful, as you can see in the footage. Like, he tries to raise my hand himself afterwards. He used to be an old sparring partner of mine 10 years ago when I was 12, 13 years old. And so, and he congratulated me after the fight and said that I had a bright future ahead of me. So I have no ill will to this guy. I appreciate him accepting the fight and, you know, helping me get back into the ring. All the respect to him. No ill will there. But ultimately, he just wasn't at my caliber. And the funny thing is I actually have a fight, another one, this coming weekend, the 12th of November, and it may be this weekend depending on when I get this video out, but this guy's supposed to be a lot, and I mean a lot closer to the level of skill that can actually give me a challenge. Apparently this guy's a bronze, silver, and golden gloves champion. He's won the nationals, and so he's done a bunch of stuff, and so apparently this guy is a lot more my speed. He's actually in my weight class too. He's 147 pounds. I'm around 150, 151 right now. We're in the same weight class, and so I'm very excited to finally test my skills, because again, like, as good as this fight made me feel, it wasn't really, you know, I don't want to say I'm not proud of it, but it was somebody who clearly wasn't at my level, and it's more kind of like, this guy was always just supposed to be a stepping stone to me, right? It's meant to kind of remind people who I am, and then I keep going forward to fight bigger, stronger, faster, smarter opponents. So, all that being said, if he's supposed to be a stepping stone, it's time for me to take the next step. And yeah, so I'm fighting 2 weeks again after this fight here. I'm really excited for it. I'm not nervous in the slightest. I've seen the guy, just like the previous guy that I fought. I was actually able to get a little bit of footage of my upcoming opponent, and so I have a bit of an idea. I'm starting to formulate a strategy on what I'm going to do to kind of go in there and fight him. I think we're roughly the same height, too, which is great for me because I'm used to fighting taller people. Like, again, the Andrew guy that I just recently fought, he was way taller than me, but I'm used to fighting people like that, so as somebody my height makes getting in close a lot easier, which is how I like to fight. And so I'm very excited. I'm hoping this guy lives up to the hype because I want a challenge. Let's go. And, I mean, I'm sure this guy's confident too. He's got a lot of skills. I'm going to show him what I'm about. One of my friends from Hawaii said, "You're a hammer." So I'm sure you got this. And you're right. I love that. It's time to bring the hammer down. Let's do this. But, yeah, that fight will also be posted to YouTube, and stay tuned for it. But that is all I have to say for this video, so before I completely close out, I would just like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, but more specifically my brand new supporter, Brendan Gage, who recently subscribed to my $10 tier on Patreon. I'm just going to level with you all. Thank you so much, Brendan, not just for the Patreon support, but just for the support in general. For those of you that don't know, Brendan is a small YouTube channel just like myself. He's a creator here on YouTube. We've actually had a few collabs. I'll, link it up here, and I'll have his channel linked in the description. Please go check him out. Please support him. He's one of my favorite channels to watch on YouTube currently, and yeah, his content's great. But this week has been a very, very difficult week for me, and Brendan has been there to support me and kind of help me through it, throughout all of it. So thank you so much, man. Your constant support has been, I can't describe how much I appreciate it. So thank you so much, and thank you to everyone else who supports me. It means more than you guys know. Thank you very much. And speaking of support, if you want to, join in on that, I've got all the links down in the description for my PayPal, and again, obviously use code NotDeadYet for 10% off your purchase at gregdoucette.com and hdltsubs.com. Also, if there's anybody out there, Greg, who would maybe, be interested in Greg supporting my athletics, Greg, and sponsoring me for my athletics, Greg, let me know. All my contact information is in the description, Greg, and yeah, you send me some shit, logos and stuff. I'll have them sewn on my shorts, Greg. And, yeah, when I'm in a fight, I'll have them on my shorts. I'll even get a new robe and put the logo on my robe, all that stuff. I was told after the fight, that there was this little kid who, when I stepped into the ring, said he hated my shorts, and by the time the fight was over, he was screaming he loved pink. So I can do that for your brand if you're interested. Again, DM me on Instagram or email me at onenotdeadyet1@gmail.com. So, that is all I have. With everything all said and done, remember, I am not dead yet, and if you are not either, there is always a tomorrow waiting for you.